All right, Lindsay, Thanksgiving's behind us, Cyber Monday's behind us. So for political junkies, we know what's next. The midterm elections. We are less than a year away officially. Wow. Yeah, Republicans need just 5 seats in order to regain the majority. And if you remember last cycle, we talked about this. New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, she led a very successful effort during that cycle to elect more Republican women, funded through her political action committee, Elevate PAC, or EPAC as she calls it. And she's back at it again ahead of the midterm elections in 2022, saying the women that she is helping are going to be key to Republicans flipping the House. Her PAC has recruited more than 100 women to run for Congress during the 2018 cycle, and 11 out of the 15 seats the GOP picked up were endorsed EPAC women. That's right. This cycle, more than 180 Republican women have already filed to run for Congress, and she is endorsing 8 of them so far. Earlier today, Congresswoman Stefanik held a press conference with those 8, which she's saying is the first round of candidates endorsed by her PAC, and she joins us now. Congresswoman Stefanik, good to see you. Building on quite a record there. You've got 180 plus women who've already run for Congress. Republicans largely get away from identity politics, right? That's been the Democrats' bailiwick. So let me ask you this. Of the 8 that you're endorsing right now, many of them have primaries. So what is it about gender that you think is important for Republicans to highlight as we get into this next midterm?
Well, Sean, you talked about the success of EPAC in the 2020 election cycle. 2020 was known as the year of Republican women because we led the effort to flip a number of seats, and we are going to lead the effort to fire Nancy Pelosi once and for all. I'm not just endorsing these candidates because they're women. I'm endorsing these candidates because they're the strongest conservative candidates to win both the primary and general elections, and they've already proven that. They've hit their metrics and put up strong fundraising numbers. They've put together strong campaign teams, and they have extraordinary backgrounds. You have veterans, you have healthcare experts, you have moms, you have small business owners, owners of manufacturers, people that come from all walks of life, but they are most in tune with their districts, and they have what it takes to defeat these rubber stamps for Nancy Pelosi in these swing districts and ultimately win back the House with a historic majority next November.
Congresswoman, you talk about the metrics there. As Sean mentioned, 189 Republican women filing so far. So how do you whittle it down? What specific metrics do you look at that help you choose these women that set them apart?
Well, I have good news, Lindsay and Sean. We're actually over 200 right now. There are more women stepping up to run every day, and that is more than we were at this point last cycle, which was such a successful year. What do I look for? I look for fire in the belly in these candidates. They have to be able to answer the question of why they're running and what the key issues are in their districts and how they want to be an effective member of Congress, fighting back to the socialist far-left agenda that we see from unified Democrat government with Joe Biden in the White House, Nancy Pelosi controlling Congress, and Chuck Schumer controlling the Senate. I also look at the campaign metrics. They have to have a strong grassroots fundraising effort and put up strong numbers on their own before they get the support from EPAC. In addition, they have to have a strong campaign budget. They have to have a strong campaign team. They have to do a deep dive of how are they going to win over 50% of the votes and really look at the precincts, look at the county data to make sure that they have a path to victory. This is a very significant vetting process, and it was proven to work in 2020, so we're building on that success going into 2022.
So I know that the National Republican Congressional Committee, the NRCC, the campaign arm of the House of the Republicans, doesn't endorse in open seat races and stuff, but you do. So when you get in there, what kind of support do you give? Is it just financial? Is it educational? Is it training? Like, what do you do different than, say, the party? And secondly, do you go out and find these folks, or do they come to you and make the case why they want your endorsement and support?
Well, we work with the NRCC as a partner. It is true that the NRCC does not endorse in primaries. They support our incumbents, but in terms of these open seats, I don't make endorsements as every primary, but when I find that there's a very strong Republican woman candidate, we are all in if they meet the metrics. What does EPAC offer? In addition to financial support, we bundle using our digital efforts and our strong email list that I've developed over many years. To date, Sean, I've raised over $3 million. That's gone directly to the candidates candidates, either bundled or donated. And we have a strong digital operation. My endorsement also, they're able to use that in their district. We also work with them on potential candidate training. Our campaign teams work together. And the candidates and I are in constant contact, whether it's text message, whether it's phone calls. And it's been a real privilege for me. For example, so many of the candidates I got to know last cycle, Young Kim, Nicole Maliotakis, Ashley Hinson, I get to serve with them today. And they're just wonderful colleagues and partners legislating and fighting back to Pelosi's agenda.
All right, so they get the money, and they also get Elise Stefanik's cell phone number. So that's at least worth something, because that's got to be great to be able to tap into some advice sometimes. When I know I've run a lot of campaigns, and being able to tap into your expertise has got to be a big deal. So that's probably just as valuable. Congresswoman, I want you to stick around, though, because when we come back, let's introduce our viewers to this first round, these 8 women who you are endorsing. So let's stick around, and we'll show them to you next.